it's me again, Kathy. I'm back and I'm with my journal. I have fixed the cover and then I took it to the shop and I forgot all my other things. Yeah, I was going to decorate the cover and yeah. Anyway, let me show you what I've done so far. It was just one of those days. So here is my closure for now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. So I took this strip of muslin, I cut 2 inches, and then I cut it half through, and then ripped and tied a knot and got a longer piece. Doing a hardcover soft spine based on Melanie Sullivan's tutorials. This is a Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements jelly roll, and the other fabrics have been thrifted. Some were from Lace Tops, some were from a church bazaar, and the base is a jelly roll from Joann's that was dyed different colors by them to look like vintage. This is a piece of canvas type material, and then here are the 2 sides of that cardboard that I showed in my first video. Took my heavy duty scissors and I just cut down the middle so that I could do the soft spine. And then next I took a ruler and I just marked off about every inch or so. I used my crocodile on the smallest hole setting and punched the holes through the cardboard. For this binding, I used cotton thread, and I did a simple stitch, started in the middle and went from side to side like you would with a 3-hole or 5-hole stitch. And I sewed a zigzag on the canvas so that it wouldn't unravel past the point of the stitching. Usually I will sew both pieces of fabric together with the signature. This time I just sewed to the signature to the canvas, and then there's a little gap there between the top fabric and the binding fabric. It's an example of a different kind of a hardcover soft spine. This one I used again some Tim Holtz fabric. I have some handmade beads there, and each of the sewn piece is an individual piece of embroidery floss. Both the binding fabric and the top fabric are sewn together in this manner. The best about the soft spine is that the journal will then lay flat. Here's another example I made. Very large journal that houses a lot of my sticker sheets. And this is a little journal I made for some of my stencils. I have videos on my channel and I will link those if you want to see them. Now I'm going to do a flip through of the journal as I have it so far. I'm thinking of not putting the pockets in now. I'm not really sure if I'm going to do that or not. Here's the little bird journal tag that I made, and I need to fill that in. Of course, you've seen some of this in my previous video. Here's a little owl. Well, owl. It's like a big owl. There's a tuck spot behind it. And then we have a pocket, and that is an image I got out of a magazine with men riding horses, and there's a spot for a tag. Here's some vintage looking photos from a magazine. I made a journaling spot with one of the cards and a pocket with the other, and that is a stamp from that set that I showed you in my previous videos. Also, the letter is a stamp from that stamp set. All the images you see came from 1 or 2 magazines and a few extras that I had in my magazine storage box. This tag was, well, this pocket, again, I'm not going to keep saying magazine. I've already said that. This pocket, or tag, I mean, was made with some packaging from some water crackers that I thought was very interesting, and I used it as a little window for the bird that is, I think you can see that if I held it up correctly. But I just glued that together with some brown paper on the back and sewed around it, and there we go. Now this is my triptych. I just took one long piece of an image, cut it into thirds, used some leftover scrapbook paper. I distressed the edges, and then I made some tuck spots with some more images. Yeah, so I have a space there. Here's an envelope pocket and some extra bits that I didn't have any place to put. Saloon and a little lamb. And that's some of that thin packing paper that you might get in a package. This is another, of course, image. This one is more of that stamp. I'm not sure which one of the Tim Holtz, because this was the one that I got at the thrift store for $1 that didn't have the stencil with it, and the packaging was cut apart and all that stuff. So now you probably know there's a theme to this. This is Western, yes, but it's also based on the color scheme from one of my favorite movie musicals, Calamity Jane. So this image that you see with the lady with the horse, that is my Calamity Jane inspiration. Okay, and this background, you saw me stamping with the big lacy type background stamp, and I've used that throughout the journal. So on this page then are some images that I have glued down, and I've got this kind of bright thing. I'll tell you why that binder clip is there in a second. All these images that I found influenced my endeavor to capture the colors of the movie. This little cabin was part of my first window that I made of my wonky houses in my first shop. And with the little wonky house, I made a little tuck spot so I can put a little journal tag in there later on. And this is where I had stamped that saying you can be a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously, but the simultaneously didn't show up, and I don't know if I should restamp it or whatnot. Okay, so the binder clip was holding all this together because it kept flying out. I have a little depiction of a cabin that I dream cabin. I love that fireplace. There's my dream stove and little copper pots, and these are journaling tags, except this one I haven't put backing paper on yet. With all of the magazine images, they're kind of flimsy, so I use the subscription cards first with some glue stick, and then I would put the brown paper on. There, of course, is a tuck spot. It's red. Calamity Jane and Katie's cabin door was yellow, but I went with what I had. I'm going to take away the pink binding clip. I brought that with me from home, and I knew I had some in my little cabinet behind me here. I got these on clearance at Staples, so you can find things for your journals in almost any store. So let's go on to the pocket here. I used a strip of bag, and as it went through the sewing machine, I just sort of folded, twisted. Here's a little journaling spot I made, little card. That's a piece of snippet roll that I just put on the front, backed it onto cardstock. No, not cardstock. Scrapbook paper that I had left over. Here's another little postcard type image. You saw me decorate that. I'll have to fix that corner with some glue. That's a telegraph card. And then on the flowers here, I just outlined with thread on the machine. Get back in there. So let me show you the top of this journal. Now I made pockets. You saw that in the previous video with the brown paper that I had. I decided to make top loading pockets. Here's the first pocket in the first item. This is an envelope I made with the magazine, of course, and then it's just lined with brown paper. I had to cut it down a bit because it was a little bit too high. Re-sewed the edges, and it slips in there, and that's going to be for my receipts. This one is a little journal I made. I don't know what this kind of map is called, but I got it out of a travel magazine. You know what? Does anybody know what this is called? Where they just have the little... It's not a realistic map. I'm not sure what it's called. Please tell me. So I just used some of the very thin packing paper, made a little signature, sewed it up the middle on the sewing machine because it was thin enough. And I made a bookmark for discoveries, backed it with some leftover scrapbook paper. And so this will be a spot for me to put in where my husband and I want to go see what we've seen, that kind of thing. Here's another little journal. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a faint outline of a horse on the front. And I made a little ruffle there on the side with some brown paper. And this is another of that thin. I'm not sure what I'm going to use this one for. Maybe just some quotes, some really nice and inspirational quotes. That goes in the second pocket. Third pocket, I have another envelope. This one I put in some fancy paper. It's not fancy paper, it's magazine. Ha! But this one is for my coupons. We don't get a lot of coupons, but what I do get, they're going to go in there. And I have them all in one spot. Well, if you're still with me, I want to show you how I'm carrying my journal, or really any small type journal. This is a little canvas tote that I got recently from Amazon, and I decided to spruce it up, trick it out. I don't know. It has a zipper, but because my journal's a little higher than the zipper part, I decided to cut up a pair of shorts that had gotten ripped. Here's the front. I put my little brooches on the front, and I'll show you what's on the inside. So in the front pocket, I took out the journal. You can see that I can zip it across. It's not real, it's a bit of a zipper, but it doesn't really cover the whole thing. So this is the the canvas pockets. No, what are they called? Cargo pockets. That's what it's called. That's where I'm going to put my pins and, extra supplies. So I took the, zipper part of the shorts, and I basted it into the second pocket so that my wallet and my phone and whatever else can be a little bit more secure when I haven't zipped the top zip. This is the back pocket. I sewed it wrong sides together, turned it right side out, and I left some string. Now here's some proof. I cannot carry on a conversation and film at the same time. This is my jar of charms. Oh man, how do I turn it to the camera? I don't know. Not when I'm talking to my husband. I can't do both. So I wanted to put some charms on the strings that I left uncut when I knotted, that wonderful sewing job there you can see. And I'm just going to go through my jar here and figure out which one I'm going to use. So here's some dangles that I put together a few years back, and I forgot I had them. But I think I'm going to use this green one. I really like that one the best. So I'm just going to tie it into a knot and hang it off this little pocket bag that those little organizers that you can pay money for. Well, I just decided to make my own out of the back pockets. And it's working out pretty good. And there we go. See, again, wrong. No, there you go. Turn it. There we go. Yay!